So, let's talk about witches. Since the times of the Brothers Grimm, witches have held a unique place in pop culture as a female story archetype under no obligation to be pretty or good or fall in love or be accepted by society. Sure, they can do those things, but the primary thing that defines a witch is possession of mystical knowledge and power that others don't have. I think little girls are fascinated by being witches because a witch has the agency to make her own rules. Whether others are asking her for help or burning her at the stake, it's always because she's the person that knows more than they do. So inevitably, this centuries-long cultural fascination with witches has led to a Wizard of Oz adaptation that attempts to give more personality to its two good and bad sorceresses. Stephen Schwartz and Winnie Holzman's musical Wicked is based on Gregory Maguire's 1995 novel, but differs from it in several ways, including the survival of several characters who die in the book, Nessa Rose using a wheelchair instead of being born without arms, Spock having a continuing love for Glenda, Fiyero not having a wife and children. Yeah, it's pretty much its own thing. The show premiered in 2003 and has been kept running pretty much ever since by its devoted fan base of 13-year-old girls. But since I spent my middle school years basically living under a rock after I got lost on a hiking trip, I was never a fan. So we're doing it now. I'm the Broadway Neophyte, and this is Wicked. Our first scene shows us the citizens of the Land of Oz celebrating the death of the Wicked Witch, and to their surprise, local good witch and fashion icon Glinda admits the two of them were friends when they were younger. Elphaba, whose name comes from the initials of L. Frank Baum, so now you know, was an illegitimate child conceived under the influence of green elixir, causing her to be born with green skin that horrified her parents. Elphaba grew up as the unfavored sibling compared to her sister Nessa Rose, and became a snarky loner after years of being stared at for her green skin.
Alright, fine, let's just get this over with. No, I'm not seasick. Yes, I've always been green. No, I didn't eat grass as a child. No. Oh, this is my younger sister, Nessa Rose. As you can see, she's a perfectly normal color.
After displaying natural talent at magic, Elphaba was chosen to study sorcery at college, and maybe even become an apprentice to the wizard, the most powerful magic user in the land.
Once I'm with a wizard, my whole life will change. 'Cause once you're with a wizard,
She beats out the cheery and popular Glinda for this opportunity, and they quickly become enemies. Song before because there's a difference between running a show about musicals I haven't seen and wearing racehorse blinders at all times, but the staging of Glinda and Elphaba acting fake nice while they sing about how much they hate each other makes it infinitely funnier. Chenoweth and Menzel's comedic timing is brilliant. And of course, no show set in a school would be complete without a good old-fashioned student body as shallow hive mind number, as their classmates all take Glinda's side.
She's a terror, she's a starter, we don't need to show a bias, but Glinda, you're a martyr.
These things are sent to try us.
Elphaba is sympathetic toward her history teacher Dr. Delamond, who is discriminated against for being a talking goat man.
I seem to have lost my appetite.
You shouldn't let ignorant statements like that bother you. I mean, I always do, but you shouldn't.
Myself, but if only it were just a matter of some words on a chalkboard, but the things one hears these days.
He reveals there's a conspiracy to stop animals from speaking, and Elphaba promises that the wonderful wizard will help. A young prince named Fiyero arrives at the school and makes an awkward transition from introducing himself into explaining his entire life philosophy of being carefree and brainless.
We were studying. Well, I see that once again the responsibility to corrupt my fellow students falls to me. Fortunately, I'm up for the task. The trouble with schools is, they always try to teach the wrong lesson. Believe me, I've been kicked out of enough of them to know. They want you to become less callow, less, shallow. But I say why invite stress in.
The students plan a party via adorable High School Musical dance number, and we witness Galinda's skill at manipulation when she gets out of having to go to the party with a less popular munchkin named Bok by convincing him to ask Nessa Rose instead.
Gee, I know someone would be my hero if that someone were to go invite her.
Well, maybe I could invite her.
Galinda gives Elphaba an ugly hat to wear to the party, promising it's fashionable, and Elphaba softens toward her and asks the professors if she can join the magic course.
Elphaba?
Miss Elphaba requested that I include you in sorcery class. She insisted I tell you this very night, or she would quit the seminar.
Galinda regrets her actions when she sees Elphaba being laughed at for her hat at the party and uses her popularity to make everybody join in her dance. Thus, the two start a genuinely adorable friendship.
Really counts to be popular. I'll help you be popular. You'll hang with the right cohorts. You'll be good at sports. You'll display you've got to know. So let's start, 'cause you've got an awfully long way to go.
I ended up liking Galinda a lot more than I expected from the girl who sings the quintessential passive-aggressive popular girl song. Sure, she's oblivious, manipulative, and self-absorbed, but she does have an actual conscience. She means well, and Kristen Chenoweth makes her quirks legitimately endearing.
The most important thing to have to make yourself popular is to keep your beautiful smile.
One day, class is interrupted when Dr. Dillamond is carted away by the authorities, who introduce a new magical cage that will prevent animals from learning to speak. Elphaba and Fiyero save the lion cub in the cage, who will grow up to be the Cowardly Lion. She falls for Fiyero, but thinks her feelings will never be returned, and that he's more interested in Galinda, who has even changed her name to Glinda at this point to try and win his attention.
Don't remember that rush of joy. He could be that boy. I'm not that girl.
Elphaba and Glinda are summoned to the Emerald City, where the wizard has asked to meet the promising magic students. After a bizarre sequence of horrifying and unnecessary clowns, which to be fair is the majority of clowns, they're finally face to face with the wizard, who talks to the populace via the magic mirror from Shrek and is actually behind the oppression of the animals, along with the school's headmistress, Madame Morrible.
If this is what you can do the first time out, the sky's the limit.
Oh, such wingspan. Won't they make perfect spies, right?
You're right, that's a harsh word. How about scouts? That's what they'll be, really. They'll just fly around Oz and report any subversive animal activity.
The biggest surprise of the show for me was that Elphaba and Glinda's conflict is a moral and political one. Glinda wants to continue working for the wizard and be rewarded as a famous and successful good witch, while Elphaba's opposition to the treatment of the animals is too strong for her to do so.
Don't be afraid. I'm not. It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
Defying Gravity, which she sings while escaping from the Emerald City, isn't the generic follow your dreams empowerment song I always thought of it as, but Elphaba's decision to become a revolutionary and a wanted criminal of Oz. She has a chance to apologize and go back to following the rules, and Glinda has a chance to escape with her. But they ultimately realize that while they care deeply for each other, they're going different ways in life. It's a very Professor X and Magneto kind of thing. Act 2 takes place a few years later, and Glinda and Fiyero have been appointed Oz's Good Witch and Captain of the Guard, publicly known as the defenders of their land against the looming threat of the Wicked Witch. Nessa Rose is now the governor of Munchkinland, and has been taking rights away from the Munchkins to force Spock to stay with her.
That's left of it. I'm not free to leave Munchkinland anymore. None of us are.
Elphaba visits her sister and tries to convince her to help her free the animals, making her a pair of magic ruby slippers that allow her to walk.
Oh, Nessa. This changes everything.
You know?
Nessa.
Yes.
Oh, Nessa, surely now I'll matter less to you, and you won't mind my leaving here tonight.
Leaving?
Bok uses the opportunity to try to leave, and Nessa tries to cast a love spell on him so he won't, but it backfires, shrinking his heart and almost killing him. Elphaba is able to save his life, but only by resurrecting him as a Tin Man, causing him to resent and hate her.
Wizard, I have a personal score to settle with Alpha. With the witch! To her I made of tin, her spell made this occur. So for once I'm glad I'm heartless, I'll be heartless killing her.
Especially toward the end, the show starts to mix serious undertones with the ridiculous Wizard of Oz setting, like Nessa's death by falling house, or Dr. Dillamond being tortured and losing the ability to speak outside of goat noises. It's basically that really edgy first draft of Zootopia where all the predators had to wear shock collars. Fiero is captured for attempting to save Elphaba from the authorities, and she attempts a spell to save him, but it doesn't seem to work.
Let all laws be agreed. I'm wicked through and through since I cannot succeed. Fiero's leaving you, I promise nobody. Will I attempt to do again,
Her guilt drives her to embrace her wicked reputation, and she captures Dorothy in an attempt to take back the ruby slippers, the only thing left of her dead sister.
do it anymore? You want to see your Aunt Em and your Uncle what's his name again? Then get those shoes off your feet!
Elphaba is melted by Dorothy's bucket of water, and the only things left of her are her hat and a bottle of green elixir. Recognizing the elixir as one she's seen in the wizard's office, Glinda confronts him, and he realizes he was Elphaba's biological father and the cause of her green skin.
Oh, my lord. I am a sentimental man who always longed to be a father.
Glinda banishes him and Madame Morrible, restoring peace to the land of Oz. It's revealed that Elphaba didn't actually melt and managed to save Fiero in Scarecrow form.
My life.
You're still beautiful.
You don't have to lie to me.
It's not lying. It's looking at things another way.
They run away together, leaving Glinda to mourn them while she tries to be a leader for her people. Defying gravity. Sure, it's the breakout pop hit, but it's the breakout pop hit for a reason, and it's made even better with context. The strings and chord progression are intensely memorable, the lyrics are pretty solid, and it marks a drastic change in the plot that closes Act 1 while building the hype for Act 2, where we see the consequences of Elphaba's decision to become a fugitive. I actually really like Wicked. The show is above all charming, cheesy, and adorable, like eating Halloween candy for 2 hours, and they have a lot of fun with referencing the source material.
Life's more painless, for the brainless.
Lemons and melons and pears.
Well, there's no place like home.
It has really likable protagonists and a decent bittersweet ending, even if it requires an intense mutilation of the original plot of The Wizard of Oz. Essentially, this is a fanfiction where every character was lying to Dorothy about what was going on behind the scenes, and the Wicked Witch faked her death so she could run away with the Scarecrow. The time skip between Acts 1 and 2 is really effective. It's fun to see the characters evolve from their college selves to important public figures in the land of Oz, but we don't miss out on too much of their development.
We all went to school together.
Also, the cast obviously care a lot for each other and have great chemistry on stage. This is Kristen Chenoweth's last performance, and there are a few super cute fourth wall breaks where you see how much her co-stars are going to miss her.
Oz won't be the same without you. Wait, you know what? Let's go to the Emerald City. How about that?
Wicked knows about popular when it comes to its flashy set pieces and its show-stopping numbers, but under that is a solid story that really cares about its characters. I'm the Broadway Neophyte, wishing you a great Halloween.
What you